Hello and welcome back to SnowRunner, y'all, and in this video, we're jumping into a brand new adventure in the Outback. Now, this map is available on pretty much every console. You'll need to check your particular console to make sure, but most consoles this map is available on, and it is a work in progress, and the map itself is called Outback Overlanding. Now, this 80 series Land Cruiser with a Ute conversion is a private paid PC mod, and I've left a link down in the description box below to where y'all can find out more information about it. But with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and fire this thing up and go for an adventure on a brand new part of this trail system on Outback Overlanding that is not only extremely realistic, but really fun and just a gorgeous trail to look at and a really fun trail to head on down. So let's fire this thing up and get on out there. Thing roars to life. All right, let's go ahead and get out on the trail. Let me make sure we're in all-wheel drive, and it is a diff lock always-on rig, but even that doesn't necessarily make it over the top, because if you look at this thing's suspension setup, you look at its tire size, you'll be able to see very quickly that it's designed with a lot of realism in mind. I mean, already on this first obstacle, we're having to think about our line. So let me go ahead and back it up real quick. And then we'll get this thing up the first hill. There we go. What a way to kick it off. And it also literally just now started raining. So if y'all want to see where we're at on the map, this is where we are starting. So to give y'all a little bit of an idea, the garage is here. And our starting point for this adventure is here. And we're going to be making a right down this trail. And then we're going to be making a left up here. And this goes down through a massive washout, through some mud pits, and then through a massive area that y'all have not even seen yet. And I have never driven this trail before, by the way, so it's going to be an experience for all of us. So let's go ahead and get rid of that watch point, or not really watch point, but kind of GPS locator, because we don't really need it anymore. And in order to keep this at a very solid, realistic pace, we're going to lock this thing in low plus for the majority of this ride. So let's see. Oh, I forgot we were going to be right-hand driving this thing because it's an Australian market 80 series. So let's see. I love these Ute conversions. When they do these Ute conversions, it's not really a thing in the States. I mean, some people do it, but it's way less common. And I love seeing them done, especially seeing them done well. All right, this should be our right-hand turn. Now, in the beginning of this adventure, sort of in the beginning of this particular part of the trail system, it doesn't really get all that crazy yet. It starts to get a little gnarlier once you get further on into the woods and into the trail. Now, I am actually going to turn my lights on because it's raining, and I think that the rain actually adds a really neat degree of sort of ambience to the entire environment. It almost calms things down a little bit, which is weird to say because normally, you know, you would think that, you'd be off-road and it started to rain and you'd be like, oh no, now it's going to be a lot easier to get stuck, the ground is going to be smushy, and there's going to be all sorts of, additional hazards. And while that, yes, that is true, I can tell you from personal experience of being off-road in the real world, it raining while you're off-roading can change the mood in various ways depending on the trail that you're on. If you're on a trail that's already pretty gnarly and has a bunch of off-camber sections, yeah, it's gonna ramp things up a bit. But if you're on a really chill trail system and it starts to rain, it's super relaxing. Now, this right here is one of the first very realistic washouts that you come to, and I love this because this is extremely well representing of actual washouts you'll find on real-world trails. Now, later on down the road, the creator of this map might make some changes to the mud. They might make it a little bit deeper, a little bit thicker, but we'll have to wait and see what they decide to do in the long term. Let's see how we do on this climb on out. Not bad. Putting those BFGs to use for sure. Easing it down in. I'm trying to drive very realistically because, you know, maps like this are so much more fun when you drive them in the way that they were kind of designed to be driven. I mean, sure, you could, if you wanted to, blast across this like a pre-runner, and it would be fun, but again, and I'm not here to say, you know, what's the right way and wrong way to play a map. I mean, really, that's totally up to you, the end user of the map. Like, if it's more fun to you to sort of blast through it like a pre-runner, absolutely more power to you. I recommend experiencing the map in as many different ways as possible. Like, experience it at a fast pace, experience it at a slow pace, experience it at, like, a medium pace. See what feels, you know, see what feels right to you. See what feels the most fun. Dropping down. Yeah, when you drive a map like this with a vehicle like this that has a similar setup, I mean, we're running, I want to say a 39-inch tire, but like 37s would be fine for this. Even 35s would be fine for this. Like, honestly, you could probably even do this map with a set of 33s. It would just all come down to how you picked your lines. Oh, easy. This trail gets a lot muddier than you think it's going to get. And these mud pits are actually quite deep. I mean, I would definitely recommend coming down here with a snorkel. If you're going to do this trip, make sure you're properly, like, equipped with a snorkel before you come down here. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to probably hang a little closer to the right-hand side for this part. Easy. Not bad at all. Not bad whatsoever. Now, I almost wondered for a second if that was a side trail, but I think it just goes off into that little mud pit right there. I mean, and you could go in there if you wanted to, but I don't know if I would recommend it. I don't know if that would be the smartest thing to do, unless you legitimately want, like, a secondary obstacle. We got a power pole up ahead. I wonder if that marks, like, kind of a, like, an indication of us coming into a slightly more open area. I don't know. And at some point, we are going to be making a left, and there is a vehicle up there marking where we're supposed to turn left. I'm just not sure exactly where that is, because again, I've never done this trip before. What I do love about this trail system thus far, though, is how some of it seems pretty high traffic, and, you know, like, you can tell that people have driven over the surface, like, quite a few times. Did not mean to drive up that tree, but, like, you can tell that people have driven over the surface quite a bit, whereas in sections like this, it's a lot more like overgrown, you know? It's like, oh, people don't come back here all that often, like some people do, but it's not, you know, a super commonly traveled trail, and that's why, you know, you might have some debris across it, or some fallen trees, or like tree limbs, or just, you know, things that might have not been cleaned up because there's not all that much traffic on the trail surface. I mean, right here, it's basically all overgrown with grass. Hey! What are you doing out here? Oh, you're just waiting for a buddy? Well, okay. That rig looks a bit stock there. It looks a bit stock there, bud. Alright, let's ease it on down this hill. This is where the more interesting part of the trail system starts. Not that the prior part was not interesting. I mean, this whole map is insanely interesting. But what time is it in game right now? It's like, okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's do a little flip so we can see. There we go. We'll back the time up by a couple of hours, just because I love the way this map looks in the afternoon. Again, not to say that I don't love the way it looks at different times of the day, but it's so pretty in the afternoon. Wow, that's a steep angle. Okay, yeah, you would definitely not want to come down here with something that has crappy approach angle, or departure angle for that matter. Putting that grip to use, though, there's supposed to be some pretty insane washouts on this trail. That's what I'm really looking forward to seeing, is the washout sections. And let me know in the comment section down below if you have tried this map and what your favorite trails on it have been so far. And if you haven't tried this map yet, I highly recommend it, both for solo adventures and multiplayer adventures with your friends. Got a little bit of a river section coming up here. Nothing too insane yet. We haven't quite reached the washouts, but there's definitely, like, you could tell there's a buildup happening. Like, the further on down this trail you get, it's like the more it becomes very apparent in your brain that, like, hey, those washouts are coming, and they're right around the corner, or at least right around some corner. I'm not sure how many corners we have to go before we get to the washouts, but God, more fallen trees. It seems like, oh, I think this is one of the washouts, actually. Well, we better keep our momentum up, because this is, whoa, look at this. That's crazy. The stylistic, like, oh, wow. Like, the way they actually styled this whole section is nuts. Because anytime you have to, like, climb up a big washout like this in real life, the cool thing about it is that you get so many different options for lines because there's like, it's so wide. Like, it's such a wide space that the line choice is entirely up to you. We kind of did a little bit of a zigzag, like left to right type deal there, but you could go directly up the middle, you could go up the right side, the left side, like you could zigzag like we did. It's all entirely up to you. And you can do this trail in either direction as well. So if one direction is not quite enough for you, you could be like, no, I'm going to flip this around and try it the other way. Easy. Coming down this other side is quite an adventure in itself because if you do it too quickly, you could very easily hook your front end and flip the vehicle around and not end up in a great spot. Yo, it looks like we've got a little bit of a choice here. They all link up to the same place, but I don't know which way to go. I mean, they look similar. I think I'm going to take, you know what? I'm going to take the right-hand washout because that gives us, I mean, A, I really want to explore this one, and B, that gives us another element of the trail to explore the next time we come back here. I love that. I love, like, you know, multi-choice trail sections. Whoa, let's maybe not be in first person for that. I got, like, super off camber the second I went into first person. I was like, let's not. They're a lot steeper than they look. Look at this. It's so much steeper than it looks, y'all. It's so much steeper than it looks. Come on, there we go. Just trying to find a little bit of grip right there at the front axle. Not bad at all. Dude, that is so good, and it's so realistic as well. It's so well laid out, it's so well set up, it's so realistic, and you have to keep your wits about you as you're going up these hill climbs, and not only like the hill climbs, the downhills, the trail sections, the washouts, the mud pits, all of it. Like, you've always got to be thinking like, okay, what's my next move? What's my next line? Where am I going? What am I doing? And that really draws you into the experience. Just lumbering along. Good old 80 series. Really putting in the work, though. Absolutely putting in work. And the cool thing about this map as well is that it really does allow you to kind of lose track of time, but like in a really good way. I say that because when you lose track of time in a really good way, that means that you have been pulled into the experience. Like, the map is genuinely drawing you in, and I think that that's one of the things that this map absolutely knocks out of the park. But with that being said, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed this little mini adventure on the brand new section, or at least one of the brand new sections of the Outback Overlanding map. And if you did enjoy it and you would like to see more, make sure to leave your thoughts, opinions, and suggestions in the comment section down below. And if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. I'm going to get back to this adventure, and I will see y'all next time.